Presents the Midwest #1 independent computer repair company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, Des Moines, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Alrighty, folks, welcome into Compute This. My name is 2024Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations computer company that pays every single week so I can come on this radio station and tell you about all the cool things that's happening in technology. So thank you for them. Thank you for that. 4 locations that they do amazing stuff. It's weird. This time of year is a little slower for us, but when I think the Papillion Service Center, we had one in Omaha, one in Papillion, almost the same time. You know, guys that were like, hey, I want to build my own computer, so I've got all the parts. I bought all the parts. Can I bring it to you and have you build it? How much would that cost? We're like, no, seriously. It's all fun and games until you get that $400 Intel chip in your hand, and you're like, boy, I don't want to screw this up. Or worse yet, when you put it together and it doesn't work, and you're like, oh gosh, what did I do? And then you bring it into us. So we had a couple of those in this week in the service center. We had some maintenance checkups fly through, lots of Sophos installs, renewals, things like that going on. Not a ton of repairs. This time of year, we see fewer repairs coming in, not because you guys aren't, breaking your computers or, viruses aren't happening or whatever. It's because people are out doing other things. You're going to graduations here the last few weeks. You're hitting family vacations. You're doing all those. You're living your life. And one of the things that Indeed pops up, or not Indeed, LinkedIn. LinkedIn will pop up and be like, "You have been selected to opine on some topic because you are an expert." And it basically said, if you're giving someone advice who wants to get into IT, what would you tell them to do? And I said, well, I guess the first thing I would tell them, they wanted to know, like, where can you get knowledge and how can you get experience? And I'm like, well, the number one thing you need to remember when you go into IT work, and anybody listening who has kids, grandkids, maybe you're thinking about getting that career in IT or maybe making a career change, the thing that you have to remember is that any trained monkey can do IT work. The skill set is not super complex. It's like anything. Like if you're an auto mechanic, once you learn the basics of auto repair, yeah, there's nuances and there's differences between, cars and machines, but the principles are the same. And the same thing goes with IT work. Once you have the base skill set, you can leverage that in lots of directions. Do you know what hardly any IT guys have? The one skill that if you develop this skill and go into IT, you will be successful even if you're horrible at IT? People skills, soft skills. Being able to go into a meeting and understand that the objective of the meeting is not your technology or your network or your job or your world even. You're a tool to be used to achieve a larger objective in a bigger picture. And when you reframe the way you approach your job, whatever that job is, whether your customers are internal, like you work at a company doing IT in-house, or if your customers are external, like Schrock Innovations customers. If you sit down, if you think that the whole point of your world is how many of you have had this experience with an IT company? You go in and you talk to them about a problem that to you is a big deal, whatever that problem might be. It's something that you can't solve on your own. And by the time you leave their shop or their service center or whatever they have, you feel like you've been talked down to. You feel like you're stupid. You just have a generally not a bad feeling about them or the people, or you don't feel good. You kind of just feel like, trying to think of a good way to, kind of like when you go to mow the lawn and the lawnmower won't start and you have to take it to the lawnmower repair shop. You have to lift it up and put it in a truck and then drive it somewhere else and lift it down and roll it in. And then you have to drop your man card because, I know it's an engine and I'm a man and I can't get it to start, okay? And he's like, did you check the oil? And you're like, yes, I checked the oil. You just feel kind of bad when you go out of there. You feel like I could have done more. I should have checked the oil. I told him I did, but he was like, oh, it turns out there was no oil in it. Well, that's because I checked. I let it all out, When you check it, you let it out, right? I thought you would check that. Isn't that your job? So if you learn that soft skill and then you go into IT, you can learn the IT skills, and that's easy. But when you learn how to function as part of a team or how to manage internal customer or even external customer expectations so that everybody feels good about the exchange, that's when you can have some wild success. So if you missed the show last week, guys, last week, it's up at SchrockInnovations.com. Just click on radio show and you can listen to it there. You can watch it as well. If you do prefer to watch your radio, you can check us out at Facebook.com/SchrockInnovations. That's Facebook.com/SchrockInnovations, where we are broadcasting live right now as well. But we take that video, we'll stick it up on the website for you, and you can watch it if you missed the show or you can't tune in on, when it airs or when it's live. You can always listen to it at your convenience. But last week, we told you all about this unplugged privacy phone. This phone that was made by Eric Prince, who is if you remember that name, he's the founder of Blackwater back from the Iraq days. They got tarred and feathered pretty good by the powers that be. But in the process of all this, they started studying all the data that your smartphone collects about you and broadcasts back every night to, Google or Apple. And they said that's not cool. So they created this phone called the unplugged phone. So we talked about that. We also talked about the recommendations that the NSA has for you if you're not ready to go full James Bond and buy a special $1,000 phone to keep the government from spying on you. There are some basic things that you can do with your existing phone to improve your security profile. And, the NSA should know. It's kind of their job to break into these things. So they gave you some basic stuff like reboot your phone every week. Because most viruses in phones reside in memory. So if you reboot the phone, virus is gone, unlike computers that reside in storage. So interesting stuff there. We also talked last week about a Father's Day gift that you could pick up. And I saw the post went up on Facebook yesterday here about this gift, but I don't know why they put it next to a cup of coffee. Like there's a cup of coffee, like a latte there, and next to that is your radiation detector. And the radiation detector, it's not just it's your grandpa's Geiger counter. You know what I mean? It has a dosimeter, so you can see how much radiation you've been exposed to. Tell you and it's interesting because he says if you take this around to different places while you travel, if you go someplace that has a lot of granite rock has a lot of radon. The radiation levels around granite rock are higher than they are, in Nebraska. And so your little meter will tell you that, and it's kind of cool. And it's one of those things like, we're going on vacation. Honey, get my radiation meter. I'm going to see if that granite rock is, frying my toes. I don't know. But yeah, for the dad who's got everything, if you're looking for a $350 gift, it's certainly something he's not going to get from anybody else. That's up at Facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. 402-558-1110 is the number to join us on the program today. 888-250-2091. Coming up on the show today. Now, I don't want your eyes to roll into the back of your head when I start talking about this. I want you to keep an open mind and just listen to what I have to say. Next week, I'm not going to do the deep dive today. Next week, we're going to do a complete AI deep dive. Like, how is this going to impact your life in the next 12 months specifically? What applications are coming for your PC that are going to require AI that you won't be able to do if you don't have AI? And if you can't do them, is it really the end of the world? Or does it just mean that the COVID era PC cycle is coming to an end and the new computers that you're going to have to replace these with are going to require something different than what you bought before? So I don't want you to freak out. We're going to do some AI stuff. Then we're going to talk about this Cox email situation because, guys, the service centers got crushed by calls this week. For those of you who are not Cox Communications subscribers, the Cox is basically saying they don't want to provide you with email service anymore. Email is expensive. It's tricky. It's virus-laden. It's expensive. Now, there is this other company out here called Yahoo. And Yahoo, that's all they do is really email anymore. They used to have a search engine. Maybe they still do. I don't know. But they do a lot of email. And Cox is going to outsource your email to Yahoo. You'll still have your Cox address. But then if you need help with your email or you have an issue with your email, you need to reset your password, you don't call Cox anymore. Well, you don't call Yahoo either because they don't really have a phone number. You can't email Yahoo either because they don't really have an email address. Sometimes you can chat with them, I understand. But yeah, you can get help from the help file. Like you can hit F1 and get some help with your email if you need to. So we're going to talk about that conversion and what that means to people that are out the Omaha metro area coming up. It's not a scam. It's something that's really happening. We actually had people calling us when they saw the Facebook Live broadcast we did that day because so many people were calling in. They're like, oh my gosh, Thor, can you do a Facebook Live and just let people know what's going on? Because most of the questions we're getting are people who are like, they want to know if it's real. Because it sounds like, doesn't it sound like a scam? Oh, yeah. This is Cox Communications letting you know that your email is going to be switched to Yahoo if you don't do X, Y, and Z. It sounds like a scam, doesn't it? Like, who would intentionally switch their email to Yahoo? I mean, wow, why don't you just eat the barrel while you're at it? I mean, why would you do that? That's awful. Well, they did that. So, yes, that's real, and we're going to talk about that on the program. Schrock Business is continuing to grow pretty dramatically. I'm going to give you some interesting things that we've been up to over there in the last month, if we have time to get to that today. We had that last week, too, but, you guys had so many calls last week, and they were such good calls that I'm like, you know what? Let's just take the calls. Let's go there because that's the interesting stuff. And then, because everybody thinks I hate Apple products, and I don't. I really don't. I got my daughter her iPad this morning before I came into the show. Did you know that iPads can't do math? But Apple is going to have a press conference and a product launch, and by golly, they're going to fix that problem. The iPad is going to be able to math, baby, and we're going to tell you what to expect. And maybe you should buy some Apple stock because then you could calculate your dividends. Oh, wait, they don't pay dividends. Oh, wait, maybe they do now. I don't know because they haven't had a new, interesting, innovative product in so long. They have to start paying dividends to keep their... No, they did a buyback. That's what they did. They didn't do dividends. They did a buyback. So, yeah, you can't even calculate your dividends because there are no dividends. But you can at least multiply the share price times your number of Apple shares to see what your investment portfolio would be on your iPad. Because you can't do that now, for real. Not joking. 402-558-1110 is the number to join us. I don't understand why everyone says I hate Apple so much. I don't hate Apple. I really don't. I don't. I have a solar calculator at home. It's not an iPad, but it runs off the power of the sun. It's pretty special. That was really special. I remember my dad brought one of those home in the late 1980s. He worked at a Reuben Distributing Company in downtown Omaha, and they bring in all kinds of freight from overseas and then sell it. They were a warehouse, right? And he'd bring home the weirdest things, and he brought home a solar calculator, and I just thought it was so cool. You could put your finger over the solar sensor, and then it would just slowly die, slowly fade. Take your finger off, and if you timed it right, your math would still be there. Like it didn't drain all the way down just until I couldn't put the display on anymore, and you take your finger off, kind of like if you hold your breath for a while, and then eventually you're like, it was solar calculators. When you're a little kid in the 80s, a solar calculator is pretty amazing stuff. 402-558-1110. So this AI stuff, I want to prep the field a little bit for next week here because there is something happening because we're talking about the next 12 months, the next 5 months, the next 5 years. Why don't we talk about what's happening on June 18th? Yes, this June 18th, as in the next, in days. The very first Copilot-equipped computers are going to be released by Microsoft. What is a Copilot-equipped computer, Thor? Okay, so we are all familiar with CPUs, right? Your processor. That's what you have in your modular computer. If you got a holiday special last year, you have a 7700X CPU, Central Processing Unit. Now, for a while there, back if you step back maybe 5 or 6 years, AMD introduced a different type of chip called an APU, an Accelerated Processing Unit. These were processors that had graphics capabilities built into them that exceeded what a normal processor could do. So instead of buying a graphics card, you could buy an APU and get a computer that could do some light gaming. And I'm not talking Call of Duty. I'm saying light gaming, maybe some early flight simulator kind of stuff, without having to have an expensive graphics card. So it was kind of a value thing. It was kind of neat. We sold some modular computers with APUs in them. Now, the new one that you're going to start hearing all about now are NPUs, the Neural Processing Unit. This is why all of your chip stocks are going nuts right now. The Neural Processing Unit is a microchip that's specifically intended for AI processing. It can do other processing. Remember how AMD had an APU that was a processor, it was a CPU, but it could do graphics a little bit better than a regular CPU. The Neural Processing Unit can do AI really well, and it can also do the normal kind of stuff that you do every day kind of middlingly well, like meh. All the new AI-equipped Copilot laptops are coming with Snapdragon X processors. You may have never heard of the Snapdragon X. It's not an AMD chip. It's not an Intel chip. It is not an NVIDIA chip. where those of you who have iPhones may not have any idea what a Snapdragon processor is, but if you have an Android, especially a flagship Android, hello, Snapdragon 700 series processor. Now, the Snapdragon X is specifically engineered to do AI. So, yes, it can do AI way better. The stupid Snapdragon X processor can process AI better than your 7700X holiday special, without a doubt. It can beat the pants off of any Intel chip out there and any AMD chip out there. But when you want to do something with your computer, like check your email or get on the internet or listen to a podcast or all the things you do with your computer that are not AI, for those things, it's a cell phone processor, essentially. It's a Chromebook. It's junk. So please, if you are one of the people, and this is not everybody, but if you're one of the people that's looking at all the AI hype, do not rush out to buy one of these Snapdragon-equipped computers. You will not be happy with it, especially because before the end of the year, Intel and AMD are both going to release their AI-equipped real processors, and NVIDIA is going to be, they're opening the doors to NVIDIA. So if you bought that holiday special with the 7700X and you took the gaming package, which was the graphics card with the boosted power supply, guess what? We're back in the world of the 80s, baby. You got a processor, and now you have an AI co-processor called an NVIDIA graphics card, a 4070. Any 4000 series NVIDIA card is essentially a co-processor that will allow you to do all the co-pilot-y things that you want to do. So, do not buy the Snapdragon garbage just yet, unless all you're going to do is AI. And I know that's nobody right now, because literally that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to tell you in the next 5 to 10 months what you're going to be doing with your computer that's AI-based. And you can make a decision whether that's important to you or not. And of course, if you're the guy that said, I don't need Windows 7, Windows XP is fine. And then you said, I don't need Windows 10, Windows 7 is everything I need. And then Windows 11 is a joke. I don't know. Maybe you're saying that right now. I don't want Windows 11, blah. I'm staying on 10. If you're that person, you're not exactly jumping on the AI change bandwagon, right? I mean, you're just not. I think George Bush called you a bitter clinger. This is not your cup of tea. And I get that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be aware of what's coming, because at some point in the future, whatever that date is, you're going to buy a new computer. And when you choose to buy that computer, shouldn't you choose a computer that's going to meet the demands that you have going forward into the future? 402-558-1110, 888-250-2091. Taking our first break of the show here. When we come back, we're going to take John's call, and then we're going to discuss this Cox email conversion situation and what you need to do about it, if anything, coming up next on Compute This.
Computer problems usually don't just suddenly happen. Most failures usually start out as small issues with few or no symptoms. Over time, they grow into error messages, blue screens, and other problems that can be costly to fix. Schrock Innovations' biannual preventative maintenance checkup catches those small problems now before they can metastasize and become tomorrow's costly repairs. During the maintenance checkup, our experienced technicians perform up to 8 hours of tests, checks, automated repairs, and optimizations that keep your computer at peak efficiency while identifying potential issues while you still have options about how to handle them. When your computer gets its first checkup, it can see up to a 25% performance improvement and leaves our service center cleaned, sanitized, and running better than the day you bought it. Just about every complex device requires maintenance. Your computer is no different, especially considering the valuable information that passes through it every day. If you have not had your computer maintenance in the past 6 months, you are overdue. Stop in or call any of our service centers to arrange a free pickup to ensure your computer continues to work for you.
Now you can configure and purchase laptops, desktops, tablets, and more, all at the new SchrockInnovations.com. Check out our specials for one-of-a-kind discounts and deals.
Have you noticed that almost every piece of technology seems to do its best to be disposable? Every day, people toss their phones, tablets, and other electronic devices because they can't be repaired. Manufacturers have engineered their products to fail on a schedule so they can extract more money out of your family budget automatically every year or so. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you could get the performance of today's fastest computers with the expansion and upgrade options you used to enjoy? You just described Schrock's modular desktop computers. Having the right tool for the job is important, and Schrock's modular desktop PCs pack the performance and flexibility to handle your computing needs, from just checking the email to running a complex business. Modular desktops are engineered to be easily repaired with widely available industry standard parts. Every component is selected intentionally to give you years of upgrade and repair options. It is not uncommon for a Schrock customer to be using the same computer for a decade after they bought it. Modular PCs are the most popular custom computers in the Midwest for a reason. When you are ready for your next computer, stop in to check out the modular lifestyle or shop online at SchrockInnovations.com.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. 4 locations to help you out when your computer is not doing what you need it to do. Or maybe you're looking for that new computer or back to school for, you're thinking ahead, or maybe a graduation gift. Like completely, now they're back. That was weird. I couldn't hear myself. Maybe you guys couldn't hear me either. I don't know. I was like, I'm about to take a call and I have no headphones all of a sudden. Boop. I guess they don't want me to talk to John on one. John, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Hi, Thor. Thanks for taking my call.
No sweat.
Hey, last week I just did some roundabout hoops to go through Yahoo to get my Cox email back where it should be.
Yep.
And I did that. But you mentioned another email system that might be more secure and more
usable,
quality laden, you might say.
I'm trying really hard not to be just a curmudgeon here and be like, less sucky. It's like, oh, God, Yahoo, gosh. Oh, boy. Remember when they had Yahoo had commercials like Yahoo,
Yes.
and you're like,
Yes.
wow, how the mighty have fallen. But anyway, now that their Cox's email, the 2 services that we recommended, and it wasn't, I don't get compensated from these services. We don't have an email partner, if you will. But a lot of people really like Proton Mail. Proton Mail is a privacy-focused email. It's protonmail.com. It's really easy to find.
Okay.
It does cost. You do have to have an annual subscription for it. So like everything else in the world, you pay for it. If you're not paying for it, you are the product. So the other one you can look at is they do a lot of advertising on AM stations all around. A lot of conservative stations, obviously, is Reagan.com. Very similar thing, privacy-focused email system that you control, that you subscribe to. They're not reading your emails. They're not analyzing your emails for advertiser data or anything like that. And that's where Yahoo's going to make their money, is basically when you have a free email service, whether it's, and they all do it, Gmail, Outlook.com, or Hotmail back in the day, or MSN, whatever you have, or Yahoo, they all do it. But they basically have machines that automatically read your email to determine what you're thinking about, what you're interested in. I mean, Gmail even uses it to try to predict what you're going to type next. And they have a predictive typing feature where it'll type the next sentence for you. And if that's what you meant to say, you just hit enter and it types the whole sentence. My wife hates it because it's always wrong for her. For me, it's always right. I must be a simple-minded man because he always knows what I'm thinking. But with her, she's complex. She's like, I don't know what is it trying to suggest this. But it's going to use all your email from machine learning to build a profile for you. But one of the other things that we have, guys, it's coming up with AI. AI is only as smart as the data that you feed it. And so if we're going to have personalized AI, what is the number one place I can get directly informative, personalized information about what's going on in your life, your world, what you're spending money on, what you're thinking about, what you're talking about? And that's your email. So if I can analyze your email, I can learn a lot about you, maybe even train an AI on you. I mean, for free, and then you sell my AI. So basically, Yahoo is giving you free email, but you're paying for it with your data. You are the product. If you don't like being the product, you have to pay for something, and Proton Mail or Reagan.com is good stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you for the call, John. I appreciate it. You know, we got tons of calls in the service centers in Omaha and Papillion about this all last week because people were you go to log into your Cox Mail and it says, no, you have to go to Yahoo. And you're like, wait, what? Why would I go to Yahoo? Is this a joke? Is this a prank? No, it's real. They're handing off all their email to Yahoo. We got video up at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. You can watch that explains the whole thing. I won't go through the whole diatribe here, but the long and the short of it is it's real. You are going to switch to Yahoo. Yahoo will be your support source, not Cox, for all email once you make the change. And if you make the change and your stuff doesn't show up on Yahoo like it was on Cox, well, give it a day or two. Literally, they say that, 24 to 48 hours. And then if it still doesn't show up, contact Yahoo Help. And they have a link on the page. And I guess they assume that everybody who hits their website is using a phone. Because if you tap the link to call Yahoo, it's a link to a phone number. So if you're on a phone, you want that, right? You clap the link, it brings up your phone app, and has a phone number in it. If you're on a computer, your computer says, how would you like to dial this phone number? And you're like, because I call people all the time from my desktop. You know, if you'd done Zoom, you could make a call from your desktop. You've got all the equipment you need. But still, you know, so in that video, we also dug into the HTML source code and hacked around and found out what that 800 number was and published it. We doxed them. So you can get the 800 number and call it in that video there. 402-558-1110, 888-250-2091. All right, we're a little bit late. I went long on that first segment on AI, but we're going to take a second break of the program. When we come back, it's phone time. Betsy, Don, Keith, Jim, your calls all coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations solid-state laptops are engineered locally for speed and reliability you just can't get from the major national brands. Each of our laptops starts off with an Asus chassis. We remove the stock drives and memory and upgrade them with higher-performing components. This unlocks the full potential of the laptop, making the unit up to 25% faster. This is why Schrock solid-state laptops last so much longer than the competition. If your laptop starts out 25% faster, that means over time it doesn't slow down nearly as fast.
Today's fragile computers need maintenance more than ever. Your computer needs a maintenance checkup every 6 months to last beyond its 18-month expected lifespan.
When your computer has a warranty and you have a problem, don't call the manufacturers for help. Call Schrock Innovations. Schrock will contact HP, Dell, Asus, Samsung, or any other manufacturer to arrange a warranty repair at no cost to you. We know how these companies work. We know the loopholes and the tricks to get your system repaired under warranty as quickly as possible. Even so, manufacturers can take up to 21 days to fix your computer. We'll give you the option of a fast local repair in one of our service centers or provide you with a loaner laptop to use while you wait. We can even back up your data before we ship your computer, just in case the warranty fix includes a hard drive wipe. Schrock tests your computer when it comes back from repair to ensure the problem was solved properly and all of your hardware works like new. There's a reason Schrock Innovations is consistently voted the best in town. Whenever you need help, wherever you need it, Schrock Innovations makes your computer work for you.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back in to Compute This. 402-558-1110, 888-250-2091. If you're outside the metro area, that's how you can get a hold of us. Ask a question, make a comment. Forgot to tell you this, but we're going to draw a winner at the end of the program for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. So you might be able to win that. Just give us a call here in the service center. Give us a call in the service center. Give us a call in this radio service center at 402-558-1110 or 888-250-2091. Betsy, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Hi. I wanted to give a shout out to Amy. She helped me with a weird problem the other day. I have a fairly recent iPhone that I took on vacation, took several photos, tried to upload them to social media, and it was incompatible because apparently iPhones save your photos in this weird HEIC and not JPEG.
Yep, they have their own format.
Have you heard of that?
They have their own format, yep.
It was really annoying, and I was wondering, I talked to her, and I went in and changed each and every photo to JPEG one by one, but I was wondering, is there any way to batch edit those photos to JPEG?
Oh, boy. Not that I'm aware of. Now, here's the weird thing. I mean, anybody out there with an iPhone, has used it to upload something to social media. I mean, it's not and if you were a social media company and Apple decided they wanted to have their own format for pictures, you would make sure that your software supported that format, because it's not quite half of the people out there, but slightly less than half of the people that have phones have iPhones. So, I mean, it's a substantial portion of the population. So, which social media service were you trying to upload to?
Instagram.
Weird. That should
I know,
should
and
go
it was
off
so.
without a hitch.
Yeah, and the ones that my brother had shared with me were JPEG, and they went through fine. And I'm like, why is this not compatible? And it's high efficiency, so you have to. And just warning people out there that you have to go change your settings to the most compatible instead of the HEIC.
Gotcha. So once you change the settings, though, future pictures that you take will be taken as JPEGs then.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Well,
I'm
there's only
hoping
one way to find out, It's like, what's your...
Yeah.
All right, you take a picture, you post it, and tell us what your Instagram is, and we'll get you a few thousand followers. How about that?
But, yeah, I had to go through, 80 photos and change change them all to
that's frustrating.
JPEG one by one.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there may be a way to multi-select and then change them all. If there is, unfortunately, that I don't hate Apple products. I really don't. I just use Android products. And when I need something on an iPhone, I ask my wife about it, and she tells me, Thor, that's stupid, just do this. For example, I was informed by the listeners of Schrockville at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations that Apple does pay a dividend. See, I mean, I don't know everything about Apple. I don't. I try. I don't know everything. I don't know everything about anything. Okay.
I don't. I'm not a fan, but they just. My whole family had them, so I had to.
It sure makes it convenient for that ecosystem where now you can do FaceTime and all that other stuff. And I can't be an expert.
I wanted to shout out to Amy, and I also wanted to say I love my new Mini PC. So.
Well, you see, and the guys are telling me this. We had a managers meeting, and they're like, "Thor, when are we going to have display models of the Minis? Because I think we could really sell those." I'm like, guys, we don't have them in the catalog. They're not on the website yet. I mean, it's like, wow. And you're like, no, Thor, we could really, I mean, people want these things. And I'm just like, okay, we'll get them, we'll go. But no, I mean, you can't be an expert at everything. And that's why you have people like Amy around. So I'm glad that she was able to get you situated and squared away there and get those pictures up onto your Instagram feed for you as well. Where'd you go on vacation, by the way?
Italy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You got to have those pictures. I mean, if you said Albuquerque or something, I'd be like, no, not a loss, Great. Well, I probably have a listener in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Betsy. I appreciate your time and calling in today on the program. We got you in the drawing as well for that $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. 402-558-1110. Don, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Well, my problem is receiving my email. I love your show. I try to watch it every week.
Oh, thank you.
But I don't know my host now, and I want to keep my regular email I got, but there's no way of finding the host, I guess. Or should I just shorten my email down? But I hate to change my email because I got too many companies that it uses that email.
Who's your email provider right now?
Right now, let's see.
Or who was it?
I think it was. I can't remember. I don't know if it's Cox or I had two or three of them there.
Okay, so basically, I'm guessing you're using a client like Outlook or Thunderbird to manage your email.
Yes.
Okay, so what we can do for you is basically your Cox emails; those have switched. So now you have to change your host information to point to Yahoo. And that'll fix your Cox email if it's the Cox one that's having a problem. So what we can do for you, and we can do this either in the service center or we can do this over the Schrock desk where we access you remotely, basically, so you don't have to bring it in or anything like that. But we can look at your Outlook and see which of those accounts is the one that's failing. And then we can isolate that failed account and say, why is it failing? I'm going to guess 99% chance it's the Cox account that's failing because they've migrated everything last week to Yahoo. And so now all of your old Cox servers don't work anymore. Your username and your password is the same. You just have to update those host servers to Yahoo. So if you do a quick Google search for Yahoo email host, it'll pop up like the incoming and the outgoing mailbox settings that you need to have to access Yahoo. But that's probably what's going on.
Okay, because I had one guy look into it, but he says, geez, without knowing who your host is, we won't be able to change your ID, so we can probably do that without Just
Oh, yeah, you don't need a new email address. You just need to update that host information, and we can.
Okay,
Yahoo
great.
publishes that if you do a Google, like a search, do a Yahoo search for Yahoo Mail Host, and and it should if they're a good search engine, it should pop up right at the top. But no, I mean, you just got to get the host settings, and it's literally changing 2 lines of text in an Outlook setting, and then you're back in business.
Yeah, because that's been a problem, and I said, "Geez," and now I know why I listen to your show every week. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Don. Hey, no, I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate your call today, because I know those are the kind of questions, guys, that we just got carpet bombed with last week in the service center. It was that exact question. My email doesn't work all of a sudden. What went wrong? And you will not believe how many people still use Microsoft Live Mail. We fixed it for so many people. Do you know that Microsoft Live Mail was end of life in 2012? And it's not available. It's not supported by Microsoft. No email provider supports it anymore. But because we're Schrock Innovations, and I've got some pretty bright guys working over there, they find a way to hack around and mess around and slap something together to make it work for you, until, of course, the next Windows update comes out, and then you're going to be like, oh, my Live Mail is broken again. And then we'll have to come up with some new hack around to fix it. But my goodness, people do not like change. That's why we're going to talk about AI stuff next week. We're going to have a whole AI deep dive next week. And I'm not sure it's going to be a popular show, because everyone's going to be like, why is all this change? I don't need this. My computer's just fine. And trust me, guys, the older I get, the more I understand. The other day I was looking at something on a screen, and I was looking for a phrase or a text or some information on a whole screen of text. I'm looking at it. And, Parker, who's, 10 years my junior, is sitting to the left of me, and he just says, oh, there it is right there. Points at the bottom. It's at the bottom. And I'm like, my eyes were only a quarter of the way down the page. And I was like, oh, man, I remember when I was the young eyes sitting next to somebody, being patient and waiting while I let them find something that I found like 20 seconds ago. Except he just isn't patient. He knows Thor wants to get done. So there it is. It's down there. I'm like, oh, thank you. 402-558-1110. Let's jump back into those phones there. Keith, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Well, as you were talking about AI earlier, are our computers that we bought from you, like I got a holiday special back in December, Are they going to become obsolete?
Great question. This is the exact kind of question that we're gonna deal with it in depth next week. Like, what should you buy? What should you do? That kind of stuff. So if you bought a laptop and the laptop does not have a dedicated 4000 series graphics card, which the holiday special laptop did not, basically it's a gaming laptop. You have to have a gaming laptop, something that you could play Call of Duty on. If you have that, you'll be able to do AI work on a laptop. In a desktop, we had an upgrade option for the holiday special. It was called the gaming package, where you could add a 4070 graphics card and an upgraded power supply to power it. And then it would allow you to take advantage of all the Photoshop AI stuff that was out and everything like that. And, honestly, play Call of Duty, play games. Some people took the option. It was $1,200 because those cards are expensive. So some people took the option. Some people didn't. Most people didn't. But we can still add that option in, and we're working on getting something put together that's going to be more affordable than $1,200 to try to give you an upgrade option for those. But essentially, any Schrock-built desktop that you have, I mean, you could have bought a Boundless, like the $600 desktop. If we put that graphics card and that power supply in it, it can do AI. So literally, if you want to think about it this way, any desktop that you can add a graphics card to, it's basically essentially adding a coprocessor that can be used just for AI, and the computer will figure out how to use it, and you don't have to tell it this is the AI card. Or what somebody on the Facebook feed asks, do we need 2 graphics cards now, one for AI and one for graphics? Nope, you just need just one. They're powerful enough. AI will use the chips that are there and take that load off of your processor, because what's going to happen, let's say that you decide to enable Microsoft Copilot with all recall and all the other cool stuff that's coming that we're going to talk about next week. If you choose to turn all that on and you don't have the hardware to support it, number one, they're not going to let you turn it on. Number two, if you just barely meet the system requirements and you turn that on, your computer's going to run like a donkey. It's going to be bad. So a holiday special with that graphics card, it's going to run like a dream, just like you intended it to. A holiday special from 5 years ago, if we add a graphics card to it, it's going to run like a dream, just like you'd expect it to. So that's the trick. Now, the problem is if you buy a Dell or an HP or something like that, number one, if you bought a desktop in those, Your power supply is not going to support the graphics card. There's not enough juice to push it. So you can't upgrade the power supply because they're custom. Number two, there's no room inside the case to put the graphics card because they're physically smaller cases. There's no room to expand inside, which is why when you buy one of our modular computers, we use those big Antec cases, and people say, Thor, I really wish we had a smaller case. It'd be kind of nice. It didn't take up so much room. I agree 100%, but there's certain compromises we can't make and still call it modular. And that's one of them. So essentially, if you have the graphics card, you're good to go. If you don't have the graphics card, we're putting together a package that's going to be available for anybody with a Schrock modular computer. It's going to be a 4060 graphics card, which is the cheapest graphics card because we know you're not playing Call of Duty, right? You're not going to play competitive gaming here. You're using this for AI co-processing, so you don't need to go spend $1,200 on that if you don't want to. You can get the cheaper card and then the better power supply. And because it's a modular PC, it's been designed to be upgraded. So to answer your question, the long answer is no, it won't work automatically. Yes, if you put the graphics card in, it'll work just fine.
Okay, but will it become obsolete?
No, not at all. No, because the new processors that are coming out are not that much faster than the processors we have now. We're getting the same stupid incremental increase in technology speed. So the new chips that Intel's coming out with, and like I said, we'll dive into this next week and deeper, but if you buy a case of Intel chips right now, like a case of Core i5s, you're going to pay like $18,000 for a case of chips, like if you're a wholesaler. If you are buying a case of Intel's new AI chips, they sell for $80,000 a case. The chips don't do normal things that much faster than the existing chips do, but they have the ability to do AI things much more quickly. And so to give you an idea, though, the chip that AMD is going to come out with later this year is going to be 4 times as powerful as the Snapdragon X, which is why I'm telling you to stay away from the Snapdragon X. There are better things coming. Don't spend the money now because these AI-equipped computers start at $1,000. For the crap model, that's $1,000, $999. So we're sitting here looking at the holiday special coming up and saying, how in the world are we going to do this? How are we going to not raise the price, provide an amazing, stunning computer? We can't go backwards on the specs. It's got to be at least as good as last year's, and add a graphics card to it? You got to be kidding me. We'll find a way to do it. Well, that's what we do. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be obsolete. In fact, the new chips that are coming out aren't going to be that much better from a computational perspective. They're just going to be more broad. So same depth, broader lake, basically, to do more things. And then you wouldn't have to, in theory, if you buy the more expensive Intel chip, you don't have to buy the NVIDIA graphics card, for example. So that's the trade-off. But the AMD chips are going to be 4 times more powerful than the Snapdragon and double the AI processing speed of the Intel chips that are out. So it's the Ryzen, it's called the Ryzen Strix, Strix. And it's going to be a complete Ryzen AI-equipped processor. It's going to have a different socket, going to require a different motherboard, DDR5 memory, the whole Anchorito, but it's a completely different engine. It's a different chip. It's a completely different chip. All right. Hey, thank you for the call, Keith. I appreciate it. 402-558-1110. Real quick, before we go to break here, let's go ahead and take Jim's call because it's kind of along the same lines. Jim, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Thor, maybe I missed it, but what's a co-pilot?
Okay, gotcha. I probably should. I just throw that out there like everybody reads everything like I do.
No, I have no idea.
I've never talked about it on the show before. So a co-pilot is the guy that sits behind you in the jet. And no, I'm just kidding. No.
Very funny.
Yeah. No, Microsoft Copilot is basically what they've done is they're taking ChatGPT and building it directly into Microsoft Windows. Now, when we say it like that, you're like, great. So now I can write my papers from the desktop. I don't have to go to the ChatGPT website and say, write a paper. I can just say, write a paper, and it'll write it. Rudimentarily, yes, that's what it can do right now. But the Copilot equipped computers are going to have a special button on the keyboard, the Copilot button. Think it's like the start button, but it's an AI button. So when you want to make an AI query, you push that button, and then whatever you tell the computer to do, and eventually probably with your voice, but mostly with text right now, whatever you tell the computer to do, it's going to go ahead and try to do it for you. And when I say whatever, just to give you one sample of the world that we're going into, and there's no time to do the deep dive. I'll do this next week and deep dive on all the security implications and everything. Microsoft has a new thing in Copilot called Microsoft Recall. What Microsoft Recall does is if it's equipped on your computer, which you do not want to equip this if you have 120 gig SSD, because it's going to fill up your hard drive and your computer will poop. It'll just die. You don't want to equip this if you don't have AI capabilities, because your computer will run like a donkey. It'll be bad. But if you equip this and you have all the requisite hardware, it takes a screenshot of your computer every 5 seconds, or every time the screen changes. If you walk away from your computer for an hour, it doesn't take 5 second screenshots of the same screen. It's smart enough. So it takes a screenshot every 5 seconds of what you're doing with your computer, and then it locally stores those on your computer. It analyzes that data locally on your computer. It does not analyze it in the cloud. It doesn't send these images up to the cloud. Once it has that analysis data, then in the future, if you say, you hit the Copilot AI button and you're like, there was a story that I read, a news article that I read that had kind of a meme on the bottom of it that said, suspicious kitty as well suspicious. What was that story? And Recall will go back in time to the beginning of time, looking for where that meme was at on your screen. When it finds the serious kitty meme, it will tell you what the story is, provide you with a link, and open it up in a browser for you.
Wow.
Or imagine, I went to Italy and I had a picture with 3 of my friends. And where were we at in Italy? It'll look through all your photos, find the pictures from Italy, find the picture of Italy that has 3 people in it plus you, and show you those pictures in a search result. So Microsoft, the AI capabilities are not going to, they're not going to make your latte for you. Okay, they're not going to write your school papers entirely for you. Even ChatGPT can't do that well. But what it's going to do is it's going to make you more productive. It's going to shorten. You could find all that stuff. If you had to go back and look for that stuff, you would find it. It would just take you like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? But instead, with this Copilot functionality, it's instant. You can find anything instantly that you've ever done on your computer. And not by searching for it, not by knowing how to navigate and go through the folders and the files. Where was that saved? Was it in the OneDrive folder? No, you can find it directly with your voice or with text command, and you don't have to know how to do anything. So that's just one example.
Wow. Could you hum a song and have a database in there for music, and it would find the song?
I believe Apple already does that.
Really?
I think they do, yes. So see, I don't hate Apple. Hey, thanks for the call, Jim. I really appreciate you joining us on the program today. I had to take up against a hard break here, guys. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to take Gary's call real fast. And then also, speaking of Apple, the iPad can't do math. But Apple is going to have a press conference. This is a serious situation, guys. They're going to have a press conference. The stock price could have implications from this press conference. But they are upgrading the iPad. And we're going to tell you what's coming next on Compute This.
Everyone has experienced some form of data loss or knows someone who has. It's unfortunate, but sometimes the technology we rely on simply fails. And the last question you want to hear at that time is, you have a backup, right? When your hard drive, memory card, backup drive, or flash drive fails you, turn to the data recovery experts at Schrock Innovations to get those pictures, songs, and memories back. Not all data recovery companies are the same. Having the right tools and knowledge to get the job done right on the first attempt makes all the difference between a successful recovery and the permanent loss of your important data. Sometimes you only get one shot at a successful recovery. That's why Schrock has invested in top-of-the-line recovery imagers, a Class 100 clean environment, over 10,000 donor components, and a staff of recovery engineers that are the best in the business. Schrock has a 96% recovery rate getting data back from failed devices. When the unthinkable happens and you need your data back, turn to the experts at Schrock Innovations for professional and affordable data recovery services.
Schrock Innovations can't teleport technicians to you, but online help is only a click away with the Schrock Desk. Subscribe today and get unlimited help whenever you need it.
Laptops are subjected to some of the most stressful computing situations imaginable. They get dropped, stepped on, slapped shut, and pushed until the battery dies sometimes. Your laptop works hard for you, so when it has a problem, take it to the laptop experts at Schrock Innovations. Schrock has 4 convenient service centers in Nebraska and Iowa, with more than 100 total bench spots to get your technology up and running again. Schrock has the largest supply of replacement components in stock, and we fix more laptops than any other nearby repair center. Why wait weeks to get your computer fixed when Schrock can diagnose the problem, provide you with a friendly and accurate estimate, and fix it usually in 2 days or less? Remember, if you have never been into our service centers before, new customers get their first hour of labor free. So the next time your laptop screen gets cracked, the keys pop off your keyboard, or your 2-year-old decides a glass of milk is exactly what your laptop needs to cool off, take it to Schrock and let your local laptop repair experts get it back in top shape again.
Alrighty, guys, the comments on Facebook are going crazy here. Paul writes, wow, a whole show about AI is a great idea. It never hurts to get it on the ground floor when it comes to sucking up to our future AI overlords. I personally already trust and believe in a friend computer. Yeah. Oh, gosh, guys. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Next week on the program, I'm going to take you through I'm going to take you back in time 5 years ago. And we're going to talk about the technology that you were using and what you were doing with it 5 years ago. And you're going to laugh because you would not have imagined the world you live in today 5 years ago. And then we're going to basically give you what's happening in the next 6 months in the AI world that's going to directly impact your computer and your life, potentially. And you can choose. It's not like if your computer can't run AI in 6 months that you're going to, that you're going to be one of those people that was unvaccinated not wearing masks, You're not going to be a social outcast. It's not like that. But the next computer that you buy, have you noticed, guys, that all of the older gaming computers with 3000 series graphics cards are coming down in price radically? You can get a 3050 based 15-inch laptop now for like $700. A gaming laptop for like $600-700. It's ridiculous. I mean, how much the prices are falling because those cards can't do AI. So the world is changing, and I'm just trying to make sure you're aware that the change is happening. All right, Gary, welcome to the program. I don't know much about Corel Draw, but I'll share with you whatever I do know. So how can I help you on Compute This today?
Good morning. I'm just shifting gears a little bit. This is just a software support question. When operating systems change, and you've been a user of a software that you've paid for the disks and downloaded onto your hard drive and run resident on your hard drive. Corel Draw is one that just sticks in my craw because I've been using them since 1996.
Yep.
And these newer versions of Windows have come up, and these software, I'll use them as an example. They just kick you to the curb and say, well, now you got to buy a subscription now. And by the way, you can't even access your disks that you have with the 10,000 pieces of clip art on them, and it's just annoying. Is there a law that says that these companies should continue to support you somehow by giving you the upgrade? Or I've paid Corel Draw close to $1,000 in 3 versions of. Yeah. I wanted upgrades in the software because it was getting better and better.
Yeah.
But now it's just a subscription.
You see, the law actually works the other way. Because you bought the discs and you hold the discs in your hand, that doesn't mean you own the program. You have a license to use the program as long as Corel says you can use the program, and they can revoke that license anytime they want for any reason or no reason. It's all in the terms of service that nobody reads.
So we got to write a letter to our senator then.
Well, you can't enslave people either, because the problem is the last time you paid for Corel, you said, was $19.99. So, I mean, how long should somebody work for you for free? If you're not paying regularly for updates, you're just not gonna get them. So the iPad, guys, is going to now include a calculator. For real, no joke. This is not a comedy bit. Did you know that in 14 years the iPad has never had a calculator? They're going to get, not only are they going to give it a calculator, they're going to give it the same calculator that's on the iPhone, and they're going to update the Max calculator so it matches the way it looks with rounded buttons. Pretty substantial stuff. Jim, thanks for your call. You're the winner of the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Stay tuned for the After Schrock coming up next, and we'll see you next week for AI Compute This.
Powered by Amish Furniture of Nebraska in Grand